used to be ashamed of it. She used to be ashamed of sleeping around. Stephen Hart, that is your feminine instinct telling you that sleeping around was wrong. But you hit your point of emotional sexual demarcation, and you realize two things. Number one, you can't pair bond. And number two, you've done shameless things with shameless guys for so long that having a high notch count isn't really as bad as the unspeakable things you've done with men during sex over the years. She says, I've had plenty of orgasms. Guys, girls love bragging about this. See, here's the thing, guys. Sleeping with a lot of women rather, makes guys attractive. And women use what I call inverse projection in this regard. They say, okay, well, sleeping with a lot of women makes me more sexually attractive to men. So sleeping with a lot of guys must make me more sexually attractive. Right? No, that's not the way it works. Sexual attraction is not symmetrical. The things that make us attractive to women are not the things that make women attractive to us. It's just that simple. Then she says, well, I've had a lot of orgasms. Guys, that's not attractive. Any girl who says, well, I've had a lot of orgasms in my life. Guys, listen, man, dudes don't commit to girls like Asiana Teppenhart. Now, she's going to find out the hard way in a few years and be writing like Amy Horton. But let's go ahead and get started here. She's got 15 bullet points, and we're going to break them all down. Number one, guys are way more insecure than they want to admit. She says, quote, I've had so many guys throw fits when they found out my number. It's laughable. Too many guys legitimately can't handle the idea that a girl's been with a lot more people than they have. Obviously, a bad reaction to this is a deal breaker for me because I don't have time to deal with guys who are so insecure about that crap. Oh my God. Sweetheart, that's not insecurity. That's dudes being grossed out that you are closer to a petri dish anatomically than an actual female at this point. Every guy knows that most girls have slept with more men than he has slept with women. This is just her interpreting things wrong. He had a bad reaction because he's insecure. No, he had a bad reaction because her body's been penetrated by men into the 500s, and it's disgusting. Plus, she's probably on birth control. Right? She's on birth control, meaning she can't get pregnant. Think about that for a second. How many dudes have busted in her? That is absolutely disgusting. I'll bet she has bacterial vaginosis, which, by the way, happens when women have too much unprotected sex with too many different men. That's what happens. I'm not going to describe it anymore. The side effects, Google it, you'll see. Then she says that's a deal breaker for me. Oh, so it's a deal breaker if a guy freaks out about my number. No, sweetheart. That is a deal breaker for the men. That's a deal breaker for him, Miss Stephenhart. She is literally saying, this is so funny. She knows that this is the reason why she's getting dumped. Here's what she's saying. You can't fire me because I quit. She may not be ashamed of her body count number yet, but she is starting to become ashamed that men are starting to reject her for even a friends with benefit arrangement. Never mind a relationship. Dudes are probably telling her, wow, all right, well, I guess we're not having sex anymore. Let's move to number two. She says, sex is sex, not love. She says, quote, this is so hard for some people to understand, especially when hormones mess with your mind. There is a huge difference between love and sex. You can have sex with just about anyone and you might barely feel any closeness to them. Love isn't easy, nor is it anywhere as easy to cultivate as sex. This is a woman, gentlemen. Get my new ebook absolutely free. Just subscribe to my newsletter at donovansharpe.com/newsletter. The link is in the description. Who has had the emotion banged out of her by all the men she slept with. She doesn't realize this is a bad thing, at least not yet, but she will. Women who don't sleep around those women are capable of emotionally pair bonding with a man. Right? When they reach their sexual point of emotional demarcation, sex goes from something you do with someone you love to just something you do. This is how men view sex, by the way, but it's healthy of us to be this way because we love differently than women. But women who have their eyes open when sex and love become separated in their minds, it's like when Adam and Eve ate from the tree of life and suddenly they realized they were naked. They were no longer innocent and naive, and neither is Asiana. Number three, Even the best sex isn't worth losing love. Let me pause this freaking ad here. Even the best sex isn't worth losing love. Great sex can be earth-shattering, she says, but love is the stuff that moves universes. When in doubt, choose a happy relationship over good sex. Guys, she as good as told you that she cheated on every boyfriend because of good sex. She had great sex with another guy, and she decided to leave her boyfriend, her good relationship, for good sex. But now she's at the beginning stages of realizing that maybe she shouldn't have done this. She's very close to regret, guys. She's a lot closer than she thinks. And by the way, no woman will ever choose a good relationship over good sex, right? No woman will ever choose a happy relationship over sex if they're under the age of 30. Let me qualify that. Women never choose a relationship over sex. They do this out of necessity because the men they want sexually are not the men who want them for relationships. This is what Rollo Tomassi calls making your necessity a virtue. Number 4, the only good sex is safe, consensual sex. Unprotected sex is dangerous, she says, extremely so. Non-consensual sex can ruin lives. Unsafe sex practices can get you killed. If you're going to be promiscuous, be smart about it. Otherwise, you might want to prepare for the consequences. So she's a hoe that's virtue signaling, right? Guys, listen, man, I rarely meet hoes who require me to use a condom. 9 times out of 10, if I'm about to have sex with a girl, I'm usually the one that stops and puts on the condom. And she's like, oh, yeah, right. Don't forget to put on the condom. Knowing full well she was going to let me hit her. She was going to let me raw dog her. Guys, women like their men like they like their sex. Dangerous. Girls don't go for safe men, so we know they're not practicing safe sex. They like dangerous sex. Safe sex is not as fun, and it doesn't feel as good. And again, this chick's on birth control. If a woman is on birth control but not in a relationship, she's definitely not having safe sex. Get out of here with that. Why would you be on birth control if you didn't intend on having unprotected sex? Well, I'm a hoe, but I'm a safe, clean hoe. No such thing, sweetheart. You literally, dude, you're as dirty as they come. You probably got as much DNA swimming around you as a sperm bank.